to the warehouse. We are so glad everybody came out to worship with us this morning. We normally jump into a song immediately, but this morning we have a very special treat. We've been working with the children on a Christmas song that they're going to do with the band this morning to start off our service. So if you have been going to our children's program and working on the song, you'll please come up, stand up front like we've been practicing. Okay, don't be scared. This will be fun. Are we ready to listen? Okay, everybody please stand. Okay, please sit down. Okay, if you haven't been to the warehouse before, the words are going to be on the screen. We're going to do some Christmas songs today for y'all. So please sing along and enjoy our children.
Oh,
Okay, y'all did a great job. Now you can go sit with your parents. Okay, now stand with us, please. Okay, you can sit down for a second. Again, welcome to the warehouse. We are so glad that you came this morning to join us. If you haven't been here before, we're very casual and laid back. That means if during the service you want to go get some coffee from Wayne over there, he'll hook you up. We got sodas, tea. He can probably do a latte if you're nice to him. So feel free to step over there. We have a lot of announcements this morning. I do want to remind everybody that's here this morning, after the service, if you walk right across the street this way, we're having breakfast in the social hall. We would love for you to come over and join us for that this morning. Whether you're a regular attender or a visitor, we'd love for you to come over and spend some time with us over in having the fellowship breakfast this morning. And again, we want to remind everybody about that. We also want to thank everybody here in the warehouse who've been having, and in the 11 o'clock service, we've been doing a giving tree program where we've identified people in the community that have needs at Christmas, and we have been collecting gifts for families. in need. So I want to thank everybody that took the time to purchase a gift for the Giving Tree program. If you're around today and want to help after breakfast, we have about 100 gifts we need to wrap. So if you can help, if you want to help with that, stay in the social hall. We're going to drag it all in there after breakfast. For our kids, we've been very busy. We've had a great program over the last several months. To finish off for the year, we're meeting Wednesday. We're going to have a Christmas party. And then on next Sunday night, our kids and youth are going Christmas caroling. This is kind of a tradition we've had here at the church for many years. So thank you so much for sharing your children with us, and be aware of those things coming forward. And we want to make sure that they finish out the year being involved in our Christmas festivities and programs. Now, what we're going to do here in a second is we're going to take up, we're going to watch a video. Then after that, we're going to take up an offering. Two things are going to come by you this morning: buckets and baskets. Baskets are if you want to give a tithe or regular offering to the church. We also pass around buckets in the warehouse. If you have change or loose bills and want to throw that in there, we use that money for local mission projects. Here in our community, we make a donation to the food bank out of that every month. We do programs called Feed the Need, where we feed the community. So if you throw anything into the buckets, it's going to be used right here in our local community for missions. And your regular offering to the church will go in the basket, or you can give by Venmo, as you saw on the screen. So we're going to watch a video, and then after that, watch for the offering buckets to come out.
Hey neighbor, you need a hand? I'm good, thanks. Don't worry, I'm coming. Santa's little helper's on his way. Hey! Ha ha! So you got the star that'll guide Chris Kringle to your chimney. Good move, my man. Oh, no, it's the Star of Bethlehem. Right, yeah. Bethlehem, North Pole. Same thing, right? Nope. No, sorry. It's the star that, you know, the Magi. Right, Magi. What is the Magi?
I found something on the web about emojis. Check it out.
The Magi, the wise men who came to see the Messiah. The Christ? The Son of God. Yeah. Then he would grow up to become Santa.
No. He's going to grow up and he's going to pay for the sins of the world.
Guess that'd be a pretty hefty price tag, huh?
Yeah. That's why it's called Christmas. Christmas.
Well, I wish you would have told me all this before I spent my Christmas bonus and all that junk over there. Thanks a lot. Merry Christmas. No, You look like my Santa!
thought I had a flashback and I was at a Led Zeppelin concert and getting the band solo for the first time in a long time. And I was even having my nods and waking up and hearing some really good music, and then I realized no, I was worshiping Christ the Lord and enjoying His company. And I pray that you have too, that you enjoyed your children singing and worshiping and leading you closer to Jesus. And I pray that our musicians helped you worship and enjoy Christ. I was asked to share a few thoughts about how to prepare for Christmas. Some people call it Advent, and some people call it many other things, but Advent's the time when we prepare for Christmas. And lately I've been walking around Walmart with my little hat on and making parents rather upset at me because the kids are going, wow, whoa, Santa's in the house. And I'm like, no, I'm just Santa's helper. And then they say, well, can I get 2 Christmases? You got it. And the parents like, and one little boy said, can I get a bicycle? I said, that's yours, and she's got and so I'm not too popular at Walmart all of a sudden. Don't know why, but I'm hoping that you're getting what you need to get together for Christmas. I got to get one of my presents yesterday through the mail, and I opened up and started playing it, and I have to sit and stare down under the tree until the 25th. It's a chess machine that plays chess with you. That's my thing. I like to play chess. I'm one of those geeks at school that used to play chess. But how do you prepare for Christmas? Our text is in Philippians chapter 4 and onwards, verses 4 through 6. 4 through 7, and when they pull it up, I'll read it with you. But this is something I struggle with sometimes, and that is rejoice in the Lord always. And again, I say rejoice. Actually, there's a song written about that from the 70s, rejoice in the Lord always. And again, I say rejoice, and I'm not going to sing it. But joy is a difficult thing for people around Christmas. In fact, more people get depressed around Christmas than the rest of the world, for many reasons. And so I'd like to share some thoughts about how to rejoice. If you are Jewish, the word that comes to mind is shalom. Have you ever heard that word? It's a Hebrew word that means peace. See, it also has this idea of wholeness and completeness. And that's what I think joy means, more from a Western idea. So how do you find joy? Now for some people that's easy. You can find a beverage and put some alcohol with it and eat your eggs and you drink it, and then you're joyful for a short while, and then you get to visit this white porcelain god and you sing Ralph, you know. Not sure that's joyful. Then there's this idea of joy in family, and I've learned really quickly, this is for the decision maker in the house. When I got married to my wife, I said to my dad, Daddy, how long have you been married? And he said, about 40 years. I said, well, Daddy, how did you do it, you know? And he said, well, that's easy. Early in life, you need to decide if you want to be right or if you want to be happy. I've been a happy man. In fact, just the other day, I had this urge to have a decision and to make some suggestions on a story my wife was telling that had no beginning and had no end, and it had a definite solution that I couldn't share with her because it would get her upset. She didn't want to know the solution. She just wanted me to tell a story with all sorts of characters and people in it that I've never heard about and I really don't care about. And I was fixing to tell her the solution when I realized I needed to do something. So I called my sponsor, and after a good long time with my sponsor, that feeling subsided. and now I'm a happy, happy man. So I don't know about you, but it worked for me. Now, all jokes aside, and I would like to share some things, and it's an acronym that's joyful. And the first one is to jettison regret about the past. I think if you really want to be joyful, you can't hang on to the past. Some people call it becoming historical. You know, if you keep bringing up the past, you're never ever going to become joyful. If you are continually remembering and seeing the brokenness in the past, that's where you're going to be stuck. Now, for some of those decisions, that's easy. You know, holding grudges. Some of us love to hold grudges. Some of us have experienced brokenness, death of loved ones, maybe it's a divorce, maybe you said some words to one another that you just didn't quite mean, but you said them anyway in a fit of anger. We all have regrets of one kind or another. And you have to get to the point where you bring some forgiveness to that, or you realize that you really didn't have as much control over that situation in the first place. Now, some of us need to get professional help in doing that, and to sit down with somebody and talk it through and come to some conclusion about it. Maybe clean out the wounds that it's caused you with a counselor or a psychologist or maybe even a pastor, and then bring some healing to it. Now, I'm not saying the scars won't be there, but you can't live in the past. Because if you live in the past, you're going to miss the here and now. So first of all, jettison the past. Secondly, omit the worries of the present. How many of you like to worry? I worry all the time. I used to worry in school. I used to worry that I wasn't going to pass. I used to worry I couldn't get all the stuff in my brain. And when I stand up here, sometimes I'm worried that I'm preaching and my zip's down. And that's my biggest worry. Don't look. You might just... Okay. But those are some of my biggest worries. My other biggest worry is nobody's listening to me. And then I say some corny stuff just to make sure you are. But I used to worry all the time. And I used to get these roommates that didn't help. I had this one friend, Bernard Simon. His uncle was blind, and he memorized all of the New Testament and half the Old Testament, and he used to preach and just quote scripture. He'd sit there and go and start quoting scripture. Now, Bert Simon, his nephew, he was in my Bible college with me, and he used to read through a book one time and take an exam and pass. And I say, Bert, how did you learn that? He said, easy. You just read it and remember it. I said, well, my brain doesn't cooperate. I've told my brain to read it and remember it. But I used to say, well, tell me about Jesus. And he'll say, page 95, third line down, da-da-da-da-da. This is what the Jesus stuff we have to remember. He had a photographic memory. But that didn't help me worry. When I got married, I used to worry I wouldn't have enough money to pay my rent. I used to worry I wouldn't have enough food to eat. I used to worry about I wouldn't have enough shoes. Now I've got more shoes than I know what to do with. That's just, my worries came out of my past. But I learned very quickly from Bert and other people that no matter how much you worry, you cannot change anything by worrying. How many of you have changed anything by worrying? All it does is it gives you a stomach ulcer, makes you miserable. You're not going to pass if you worry or if you don't. You've got to study to pass. If you want to get your bills paid, you've got to get a job and work for money and pay your bills. That's how it works. Worrying ain't going to do it. So worrying is usually a useless thing to do, but we all worry about our future. Now there's one thing to be concerned and to be proactive and to be responsible. But being responsible doesn't mean you have to worry. So what do we do instead? Trust Jesus. I have found that by trusting Jesus, He's helped me through some very difficult times. I have never, ever really been without when Jesus has been in my life. He's been there for me through thick and thin. And I'd like for you to experience that in your lives, to trust Jesus. And so whenever you see something you're worrying about, write it down and see if Jesus doesn't help you through it. He might not do it the way you want, but He will be there for you. Another little aside, did you know 90% of the stuff we worry about never happens? So why worry? The third one is yield yourself to God's purposes. I have found that when I'm doing what God wants me to do in my life is a lot better. When I choose to go where I think the grass is greener, I get into bigger problems. At one time, I used to get my ideas about how to live my lifestyle from people like John Wayne, Clint Eastwood, and many of those big old cowboys. I used to walk around and I used to drink a whole bottle of whiskey, and I'm working on my testimony. And I used to do a lot of other things I can't share from the pulpit, and you might not like me. But I wanted to be that tough, rough guy, you know, that lived on a farm and knew how to fight, played rugby, played chess. But that's what I want to be. And then I found out they're not real, number one. They're just movies. And real people don't do that. So then I started to look at some of the men in my church that were real Christians. And I realized most of them weren't heavy drinkers. Most of the real men worked very, very hard to put a roof over their wives and their children's heads. They worked very, very hard to spend time with their children and play catch and play chess. They worked very, very hard to tell them bedtime stories at night. And that person became and showed me what my purpose in life was. I'm a pastor because I realized how real God was in my life. At the end of my military training, I wasn't scared about being blown up or anything like that, or dying or where I was going. That's not why I became a pastor. But one day I had a friend, Stuart Benani, and he got saved and baptized in the ocean, and he came back and he was just excited about Jesus. And he just wanted to talk about Jesus. And I wanted to talk about beer and rugby and the good stuff. And he didn't want to talk about it. He wanted to talk about Jesus. What Jesus was doing in his life. Have you ever met something like that? Well, if you're not right to Jesus, it doesn't sit well. And I said, well, I'm a Methodist. I like to drink, I like to party, I like to have a good time, and I want Jesus to be on the outside when I need him. I don't want him to be central in my life. And besides, I've been through all of that, and most of it ain't real. And he said to me, look, Peter, I can't argue with you about Jesus. I can't argue about what Jesus wants to do with you. But give him a try and see what happens. So I got in my vehicle and I said, Jesus, you know, if you're so real, I want something real in my life. I want something that works. If you're real, when I get to the next camp, could you have somebody make some homemade bread, and then I will give you the rest of my life. And 24/7, I'll do what you tell me to do. And I went to the next camp, and there was this guy, and he was baking in a wall. Now, I'm not saying throw a fleece in front of Jesus. That's apparently in the Old Testament they complain about that. I got there, and I went up to this guy, and he said, well, I'm a baker by trade, and I don't know what happened, but I just have this hankering to cook some homemade bread. Would you like some? And I ate that bread and I went back into the tent all by myself and I said, Jesus, what do you want me to do for you for the rest of my life? And he says, I want you to become a preacher. Now, I'd like to say I became a preacher in the next couple of days, but it doesn't work like that. He said, there's a lot of rough edges I have to get off you. And so he had me preach, and he sent me to seminary, and he sent me to Bible college, and he had me work in a mental health institution to make me more likable and lovable and to make me more human. He put me in the school system, and he slowly knocked off the edges until I was about almost 40 years old. I've been a chaplain and everything. He said, now you can go out and be a pastor. And I promise you, when I yielded to the God's purpose for my life, I've been extremely happy. Now, I don't know what God wants for you, but I do know that God has a place for you. Not everybody's called to be a preacher. Some people are called to be youth workers. Some people are called to sing. Some people are called to become Sunday school teachers or run Bible studies. Some people are called to do all sorts of things for God. I'm encouraging you to yield for what God's purpose in your life. In fact, Rick Warren, some crazy preacher out there in California, likes to wear Hawaiian shirts. He says, you know, the thing that upsets you most in church, that's probably what God's calling you to take care of. So if you don't like the way the Sunday schools run, maybe God's calling you to take over that Sunday school and run it. If you don't like our sound system, maybe God's calling you. If you don't like the way our walls are painted or our way our buildings put together, maybe God's calling you. God's got a place for everybody. And our task is to yield to His purpose. We also need to, following the acronym, focus on what is good in life. You know, it's so easy to focus on bad. TV's main purpose is to tell us what's wrong with the world. If you watch Fox News, CNN, they tell you what's wrong with each other and the world. And if you watch the news long enough, you get depressed. If you watch it long enough, they'll tell you how to kill your spouse and get away with it. They'll teach you how to kill your children and get away with it. You know, those true crime things, 48 hours. And that's just depressing. But if you find things that are exciting and good, like reading, well, maybe the Bible can be depressing too sometimes. But if you focus on the good things in your spouse and each other, if you focus on the things that build each other up, you would be having a better Christmas life. I'm also told that we need to use our life to help others. You know, if you just focus on what other people are doing for you, you're going to get really depressed because nothing will be good enough. Being happy is a relational thing. Stuff won't make you happy. But if you focus on making other people happy, you will see your life changes. If you don't like what's going on in your marriage, and that other person is being mean to you, or you seem to be drawing away from each other, there are things you can do. My wife and I, to make our marriage stronger, we go on a regular date. And I take her out, and we go to expensive places like McDonald's, and I may or may not go to eat from the dollar menu. We go out and have picnics together. We go out sometimes and just talk. I like to make her little love notes once in a while and slip them, leave them on her pillow. On Saturdays I might or may not make her breakfast in bed. You do those kinds of things. You live for others and your life will be better. Dr. Menninger from the Menninger Foundation in psychiatry says he could cure most of the access to stuff in the world. Well, DSM-5's changed that. But anyway, most of the psychiatric stuff that's down to personality, if you could teach other people to live for others. If we stop focusing on our own mess, and we focus on other people, our own mess will disappear. If you really want to be happy, try and make other people happy, and you'll see it's contagious. It can start with a smile, you know. Do you know it's easier to smile than frown? A lot less work. My next one, and I think this is the last one, then we can run out and get breakfast or get into trouble somewhere else. Learn to be content. That's very hard for capitalists because guess what? Every time you watch TV, there's another gadget or gadget you just gotta get. My girls are forever, Daddy, my phone needs to be upgraded. Honey, it's just a phone. All I want you to be able to do is dial 911 or call me. That's it. But Daddy, the apps are all up. They just aren't updating like I can't play my games. I can't WhatsApp, I can't chat, I can't Snapchat, I can't Google, I don't know what else people do on those things. And then I bought one phone and I said, no, that one's outdated before it's even been used. I'm told that I'm going to have to upgrade my phone. I just got the thing. I've only had it 6 years. Learn to be content. You know, pretty soon in life you'll find out, you know that little, I drive a Scion. That Scion will get you where you're going just as easy as that BMW 7 Series. Same payment plan. That Bentley drives just as good as a Scion when you're getting somewhere. I don't know about other things, but you know what? You will find that some of the most expensive things in life work just as good as the cheapest things in life. Capitalism has it that you always got to get a new one, a bigger or better. Maybe I feel good about it, but I used to, and I still do, I go to Goodwill to keep up with the Joneses. And I found more of my clothes over there, with the labels and tags still on it, for a fraction of the price. When I first went into ministry, somebody bought me a Dillard suit. I wore it all in about 3 weeks and I was too big and fat for it. Never wore it again. What I'm saying is, if we learn to be content with what we have, you will really, really enjoy life. That when you do get something new, you will enjoy it even more. TVs, cars, clothes, stuff does not make you happy. It's nice to have around, but it won't make you happy. And so forth. Everything, the joyful thing is, number one, jettison all our problems. O, omit the worries. Y, yield yourself to God's purpose. F, focus on what is good in life. And U, use our life to help others. And remember, God wants you to have a full and abundant life. That's important to know. Some people think God wants you to be restricted and to be unhappy and sit in church and go, oh, I'm taking out the trash one more time. Oh, you know. We're not, why are you smiling in church? Didn't you know that's the church? I'm supposed to be happy. But that's not what it's about. Church should be a place where you're excited because God's died for your sins. He's taken all our worries upon him. He's taken all our troubles upon him. We just have to give them to him. If we can do that and leave them with him, we will be ready for a joyful and abundant Christmas. Let us pray. As we go from here, help us enjoy ourselves, but more importantly, help us enjoy each other and to live for each other and live for you. We ask and pray this in your precious name. Amen.
Thank you, Peter, and thank you again, everybody, for joining us today. Please don't forget breakfast, and especially if you're visiting with us today, I want to invite you to come back and join us for worship at a later date. We do this every Sunday at 9 o'clock. You don't even have to dress up to come. We'd love to have you come back. To close out the service today, I thought, with everything going on with presents and lights and everything, we end the service today with one of our favorite songs here in the warehouse that kind of tells you the story of Christmas, and it was really about a young, scared woman named Mary. So we're going to close out the service and then join us for breakfast. Peter's going to dismiss us for breakfast. I want to point out to everybody on the way out, Kenneth Johnson, who was a longtime member of our church, passed this recently, and he was a veteran, and Wayne, our head usher, did this nice memorial for him. Really embodies the spirit of Kenneth. So make sure, you always fussed at me because he didn't like where I put the flags in the warehouse, and we put it up front. So make sure on the way out after Peter dismisses you for breakfast that you check that out.
Don't play with a gun. I don't know where you were this morning, but if you're looking for help with God's purpose in your life, I'm available. Everybody else with the leadership team is available, and we will definitely help you struggle through that process. I also don't know where you could have been at breakfast, you could have been at lunch, you could have been fishing, you could be sleeping. I don't know where you were this morning. You could have been at the sermon. But wherever you were this morning, hear these words. God's love and God's grace and God's healing power is greater than all the brokenness and hurt in this world. And God's love and God's hope and God's healing power is greater than all the brokenness and hurt in me and in you. Go in that knowledge in the name of the Father, the Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen.